Good morning, everybody. Enter the stars. And we just had a full moon last night on Friday the 13th, which led me to look into the werewolf phenomenon a little bit further. Now, I was interested to see here that the roots of the werewolf phenomenon point back to Germany. And as many of you know, we've done a lot of work on the 88 Heil Hitler Germanic roots, and as well as Denmark and the Scandinavian countries, which I believe all sprung from the tribe of Dan. We've proven that on other videos. So as I'm looking through the werewolf phenomenon and the roots and history associated with it, I see this link to Germanic paganism in Wikipedia. And when I click on that, I look at the actual practices that went on early on in the history of Germany. Okay? And what you're going to note here is that the Germans actually worshipped Mercury. Now, Mercury has an 88-day orbit around the sun, and everything that we've been able to find about the tribe of Dan is related to the number 8. It says here, they worship as their divinity Mercury in particular, and have many images of him, and regard him as the inventor of all arts. They consider him the guide of their journeys and marches, and believe him to have great influence over the acquisition of gain and mercantile transactions, which means money. Now, those of you who do not believe that money is the root of all evil, and you just believe that the love of it is the root of all evil, this will make you think about that. We talk here about animal and human sacrifice. The chief Germanic god with the Roman Mercury, who on certain days received human sacrifices, while gods identified by Tacitus and Hercules and Mars received animal sacrifice. So this was associated with animal and human sacrifice. Okay, you guys? Now they mention here a beer sacrifice to Woden. Now Woden is Mercury. And of course, again, Mercury has an 88-day cycle around the sun. If you look here, they talk about Woden being Mercury. And that is what the Germanic people in the classical times worshipped. Okay? Now Woden, they're saying, is Odin. So anytime you hear Odin, they're really saying Mercury. Alright? Now the other thing they talk about here is Nana. Okay? Another figure in Nordic mythology. And what does Nana sound like? It sounds like Inanna, Ishtar. We've talked a lot about this, you guys. Easter, Ishtar. This is all from Norse mythology, which is derived from Kalili, which is probably Lilith, as well as Kali. Are you starting to see the roots to all this paganism? And a lot of it sprung from the German antiquity. Now, are you wondering where the toast came from when we all raise a drink and toast? It came from Germanic neo-paganism. Those are the roots, and that is the truth, as it is explained here. Drinking a hornful of mead or ale is passed around, and a series of toasts are made, usually to gods, ancestors, and the heroes of the religion. The toasts vary by group, and some groups make a distinction between the regular symbol and high symbol, which have different levels of formality and different rules during toasting. These are the roots of the practice of toasting, you guys. And it's done by the Germans and the Scandinavians in antiquity. And it is called the symbol ritual. Okay? And it is a beer sacrifice to Woden or Mercury. Now, many of you remember the film An American Werewolf in London. This was a fascinating film in its time. In the opening scene, these two men are actually in a pub. And there is lots of beer drinking going on. And it was no accident now, based on what I've shown you, that they're associating beer with the werewolf as we complete this analysis full circle. Germanic roots of the concept of a werewolf. Now, here are some additional references to actually Denmark, and it links the Germanic tribes with Denmark as well as Sweden. Okay, it says surviving examples of Germanic effigies, such as the phallic idol recovered in a bog in Brandenburg, Denmark, show that amongst some of the continental Germanic peoples at least, religious idols were naturally human-like wooden shapes that had been roughly carved to make their appearance more human-like. There was, again, animal sacrifice. They worshipped trees, waters of the river, hills, mountain valleys, in whose honor they sacrificed horses, cattle, and countless other animals by beheading them, and imagined that they are performing an act of piety thereby. There was also human sacrifice in a grove hallowed by auguries of the fathers, the sacrifice of female slave as a part of a Viking ship burial, which he witnessed in 922. Now, this is not a condemnation of these people. Obviously, all of us have histories in our roots of human sacrifice. The only way we know a person's intentions in today is by their fruit. The point here is to link back these Germanic tribes with the tribe of Dan and the numbers that we are seeing being played out in modern times, notably 2014, with the 8s. And that is the whole point of this. It all goes back to Mercury worship by the tribe of Dan. Now, when Wednesbury is the Germanic root of Wednesday, which is the worship of Mercury, and I'm going to show you that right now. It says here, Wednesbury. Theophoric toponyms in England include Woodway House, Wansdyke, Wednesbury, and Thundersley. Okay, this is under Germanic paganism. If we look at Wednesday, it says here, now look at this. This is fascinating, you guys. Etymology. The name Wednesday continues Middle English, Old English, which is continued as Woden's-day. Okay, we just talked about Woden as being Mercury. Okay, the name is calque of the Latin Deus Mercurialia, Day of Mercury, reflecting the fact that the Germanic god Woden during the Roman era was interpreted as Germanic Mercury. Okay, you guys starting to see how our reality has been constructed on paganism? Now, obviously, we have to live through these days of the week, you guys, but who would have ever known? Who is teaching you these things? No one. No one is teaching you these things. And this all relates back to the honeymoon that we just experienced on this Friday the 13th. Honey being the link back to the Germanic tribe, which is the tribe of Dan, mentioned in the story of Samson in the Bible with the bees inside of the carcass of the lion. So I recommend you check out Wikipedia, Germanic paganism, to get a better idea of what's going on here. Thought I'd share that with you guys in relation to the Friday the 13th full moon. Take care and be safe.